everybody. Welcome to Untether.tv. I'm your host, Rob Woodbridge. This is that place you come to pretty much every day. It's getting to that point to learn, to understand, to praise some of the folks that are moving this mobile industry forward. So whether it's a software developer, hardware developer, personality, executive, whatever it is, this is the place you come to enjoy their stories, to understand what motivates them, what moves them, why their businesses are doing what they're doing, and certainly to learn a few things to implement in your business. Today is actually a very special day. I'm really pleased to be able to participate in this session, this episode, because it's not about a product. It's not really about anything other than a person who has contributed to this industry, and I'm actually very thrilled to do this. I know Marjorie, who is our guest, quite well. We've done some work together, and here's some praise for somebody who is in this industry. She has been nominated to as actually one of the mobile women to watch in 2012 by Mobile Marketer magazine, and she's got a couple of positions. She's a full-time mom. She's doing everything in the way that we should be doing in this mobile industry, and she's pushing it forward. So I'm really, really pleased to welcome Marjorie DeHey Daleo to the show. Marjorie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Rob. It's just great to be on. I do go to your website every day. I do think you're one of the top journalists in this area, so thank you for having me.
And that only cost me like $100. Well, it's a true. We've met. And I've actually we was down in Miami at MEF Americas, and it was a great experience. But it's really one thing to be recognized by the industry itself, but by your peers. Mickey over at Mobile Marketer and his team have recognized some incredible women in this mobile space, and you are one of them. But before we get to that, to talk about that award, I really want to talk about how you got here, because you've been doing this. You've been in the entertainment industry for 15 years, and mobile for about 10 years. So how does this all start? Where's the fascination begin in mobile for you?
Well, I think what's so fascinating is mobile really provided this new distribution model. I started my career out at MGM Studio, and I was working on new media at the time, which was CD-ROMs. So when you're looking at what CD-ROMs were, you're tethered to your computer, you're tethered to your house, and you're trying to interact. Now, fast forward 15 years, that device that you carry in your pocket every day is the best tool that marketers have. 24/7 access, direct, all your information. It's every marketer's dream. So mobile is just the emerging technology that has really pushed the entertainment industry forward.
Well, we speak the same language when we talk about the impact that mobile is having, and I'm pretty sure I'm like you, or you're like me, that believe that we haven't even seen the beginning of this. This is just kind of early adopters and early minds looking at this as a way to expand their brands and deepen their relationship with their customers. But this is a far cry from 15 years ago getting into this industry, and whether it's entertainment or whether it's technology or any kind of media whatsoever, it's a different world today than it was back then, isn't it?
It really is, and I, have nieces and nephews that never sit and watch TV anymore. So really, when you look at it from an entertainment perspective, how are you going to capture that audience? How are you going to capture those advertising dollars? How are you going to make good content if you're A, losing money from advertising dollars, and B, look at the fact that Twitter and social media have had. You could be in a movie theater on a Friday night and Twitter or put on your Facebook that the movie's awful, and you could kill the box office weekend. And it's that immediacy that mobile brings to this industry.
So is it like, how have people looked at it? I mean, we're diving a little bit ahead here, but I'm really interested, because we're on a theme here, is that how has this industry, entertainment or media, how have they looked at this and said, have they run from it? Have they embraced it? Are they just indifferent? Are they walking around with the question marks over their heads? Like, what's going on? How have they embraced it? Have they?
I think a lot of the studios have really looked at it, but there's a lot of unanswered questions. We have a lot of members who are the studios, and they're asking the questions that everybody else is asking. MAF, the Mobile Entertainment Forum, actually did a global survey, and one of the things we found is that people are accessing the internet more through their mobile than their fixed line now. So that's telling us what the audience wants, and I think every entertainment studio is asking, how do I use mobile to A, make money, be, change how I've done my marketing, but still, get those seats into the movie theater, get those online advertising dollars, get those television advertising dollars. So I think there are a lot of unanswered questions out there.
Boy, are there ever. It's staggering. And for a lot of these guys, they don't even know the right questions to begin to ask right now. And I think that's one of the big challenges, and it certainly is a full-time vocation, if you will, to go out and try to educate on this. Perfect example of that is what you're doing for MEF Americas. You're involved with MEF Americas. You're involved with a company called Media Mojos. Let's talk about these two companies right off the bat before I forget, quite frankly, and we get right into some of the meat like we just did. What is MEF Americas? This is the opportunity to plug these guys.
MEF Americas, it started out as the Mobile Entertainment Forum, and we've actually changed our name to MEF because we realized beyond entertainment, mobile industry embraces so many things, and one of the key things it's embracing now is engagement. So MEF could be Mobile Entertainment Forum, mobile engagement, and part of our initiatives that we've run this year is an m-commerce initiative, because we realized that how you pay for things on your mobile phone has constantly been changing. So you start to see things with a Google Wallet, with NFC, with your phone becoming your primary wallet. So, they say most Americans, the first thing they'll go back for before their car keys is their mobile phone. So you really have this device that we are so tethered to that's now going to become our wallet. So how do you use that phone properly? How do you get within federal guidelines? What are going to be the regulations? And is the technology there to support it? Will consumers embrace it from a privacy and security level? So there's a lot of interesting questions out there that MEF is trying to answer.
And I mean, MEF's been around they're not new, right? MEF's been around for quite some time.
It started about 10 years ago, and we really started in the ringtone. So when ringtones were emerging, hey, this is a new entertainment, how are we going to do this? And that was an exploding market. And, we've obviously come a long way from ringtones, but when you look back at the industry, ringtones were so exciting. They really were at the time. And now you see the iPad, you see, everything, the Kindle Fire, everything that's coming out. So you're like, wow, what's going to happen in the next 5 years? Yeah.
And for anybody who's ever watched one of these episodes or any shows of mine, is that nobody knows. And anybody who says that they do is full of it, right? Because nobody saw the last 18 months happening the way that it did. And quite frankly, although we've been watching it from afar, and MEF is a European organization that is getting roots in North America and Latin America, because where did all of this mobile innovation happen? Where did it get embraced first? It certainly wasn't the Luddites in North America. It was Europeans and Asians that actually embraced this. So lessons learned over there brought over to North America. Is that a good way of putting it?
I think that's a great way to put it, because a lot of the top brands and brands that we work with, like Coca-Cola, the way you can purchase Coca-Cola in Japan, you can do it through your mobile phone. Yeah. You can in Finland. And there were early innovators in that space, and every time I go to a hotel here or anywhere here that's a vending machine, I am scrambling for change. Yeah. So it's a very antiquated way that we purchase goods in the U.S. We are really ramping up to catch up with other parts of the world.
Yeah, that's right. Change. How gauche, right? Have to root through your purse or my pants and pick up this, German-fested silver. And I should say that you're in Los Angeles, so we share the same pain when it comes to actually having to pay cash for vending machines. So. That's MEF, and what about Media Mojos? I love the name. What are you guys doing with Media Mojos?
Sure, that's a consultancy I run with Anthony Dillastone, and really where that kind of came about is we've worked with some great clients, because mobile strategies are challenging. Unless you've dealt with operators, unless you've sold into operators, it's very hard to embrace how mobile is going to change your business. How is it going to change your brand? What's the best way? A lot of mistakes have been made in this industry, and there's a lot of companies that have done amazing things. So really where we focus on is helping brands. One of them we worked with was America One. We helped them launch One World Sports on AT&T, Verizon, and that was really exciting because that would bring international sports content to the mobile phone. So just really we're seeing that a lot of companies want to be visionaries in mobile, but they're not sure the strategies to take. So that's what Media Mojos does.
I love it. And that's it. So mefamerica's.com, Media Mojos, just literally like Mojo the candy. That's how old I am. MediaMojos.com to find out more information, and I implore you to go and take a look at these websites. All right, history done. You've been doing this for a long time. You've got to talk about that. I guess the transition into mobile was pretty simple from where you were in the entertainment space, or was it? What was it that really appealed to you about the mobile space, or was it kind of that pulled you in, or was it a kind of a gradual, leaning towards, and then all of a sudden you were knee deep in it, and it's been 10 years?
Well, I think everything is a little gradual because I went from MGM to run a marketing department for LexisNexis, which is large online. So a lot of the things that we were doing in the marketing department were online. I think when I really got embedded in mobile was when I started working for Enterprise Ireland, which is the Irish government. And this goes back to what we were saying before. Europe, at the time, was probably about 24 months ahead of the curve of the U.S. So we started seeing all these innovative startup companies in the mobile space doing things that weren't available in the States. So I really started working with these companies and started connecting them to the studios and operators here, and that was exciting because it was just exciting to see the technology being brought to the States, and just the innovation that was coming out of Ireland was very amazing.
So you must have looked at this and just said, I mean, on one hand, you're looking at these companies in Ireland that are building, doing what Europe was doing back then. Most people that I talked to 10 years ago thought it was crazy to download a ringtone or pay for any kind of theme on a mobile device, and there were no smartphones. But you were seeing some great innovation that was happening out of this, and then you kind of look, to the States and Canada, and there's nothing like that going on. That must have been kind of a big disconnect. Is either it's going to fly or it's not going to fly. I mean, that's a decision, a career-changing decision, where you say, I'm going to take a rider on what's going on in the mobile space. I believe in that. Do you look at it that way now, or at the time was it just a natural transition?
I think at the time it was a very natural transition because I had done so much on the online world that it was just, again, another platform. Yeah. And a lot of time when you come from the entertainment industry, you're like, oh, it's a new distribution method we can use. Where it's actually come in the past 5 years has really amazed me. I think it's amazed everybody. Yeah. The brilliant minds like Steve Jobs out there that were constantly pushing the envelope, and I think he just left such a legacy, and I hope that Apple continues his legacy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what's happened. Not a lot of the things that we're seeing in North America are original ideas. I think we've spent a lot of time kind of trying to perfect one idea, and we're still going through that process. But why do you think mobile is so important? When you look at it, it's the focus of everything. Everyone I talk to, maybe even more so than what we were during the heyday of the web. But everybody that I talk to, everything that I read says mobile strategy, mobile this, mobile that. I need an app. I got a website. I got this. Why do you think we've glammed to it so much? Why do you think it's so important?
I think it's so important because it's so personal. It's the one thing that, A, we have with us all the time, and B, it's personal to us. I will happily let, friends, colleagues use my PC. I am really reluctant to let other people use my phone. So that really does say something from a marketing perspective, because that phone is an extension of me. It's personal, and I think that there is no other tool out there that people have on them 24/7 that is so personal to them, and that's why it's important.
So, I totally agree. Although I hand my iPhone to my kids gladly when they're out in the backseat of my car. Which is probably what this is made for. We're going to look back and say, what was the biggest benefit to this? Is that, my kids, silent car rides, right?
Or calls to Japan, which
yeah, exactly.
What happens when you give a child a phone?
Exactly. Well, it's an expectation now that my kids are asking. They're 5 and they want iPhones. So they're going to know that world. In fact, when you start to think about this, the impact that we're having. look forward over the next 12 months, is there anything that really kind of you're looking at thinking, oh, this is going to make or break the industry? I mean, you are right in the middle of this kind of mobile commerce space. You're talking about privacy issues. You're talking about all these things. Is that what this year is going to be, the next 12 months in this space?
I think one of the things that I thought would adapt quicker, that I'm sure we're going to see this, is more of the location-based services, because in other countries you could walk past a restaurant and all of a sudden get an SMS for a coupon to go into that restaurant. So when you combine something like Groupon with your mobile phone, that's really where I think everything's moving, because you have the ability to be instantaneous. And I mean, think of that in terms of a local marketing reach. I'm walking by a restaurant or store, etc. Get that instant coupon. That's really going to drive businesses.
Pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And so when you, I mean, that's obviously massive when it comes to those kind of things. But there are obviously going to be some issues around privacy and protecting privacy. But do you think that 2012, we're looking at 2011 as the kind of year of NFC, the year of mobile payment, mobile commerce? Are we there yet? Does MEF think we're there? Do you think we're there yet?
I think we're very close, and I think, again, it may not be one of the bigger companies that really pushes the envelope, but there's so many brilliant startups that I'm seeing come out in these various areas. There is going to be somebody who just gets it right, and we're going to see that in 2012.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
All right. So now, obviously, being awarded this thing, Mobile Marketer talks about this as the top women in mobile women to watch in 2012, and the way they've described it is that this is a list of that celebrates women who are going to have an impact in the mobile industry in 2012, and around mobile advertising, mobile marketing, mobile media and commerce, and the list is pretty impressive. You are one of these lists.
So honored to be among these amazing women, because if you read all of the bios, these are some of the most incredible women in the industry. And I think that Mobile Marketer does a great job at educating young women that there are lots of great opportunities in the mobile industry, and that there are a lot of great things going on. And I think that education is so important to really get the next generation of women involved in mobile.
And what do you hope comes out of this? Is this is this just an award that sits on a shelf, or is this something that do you go on a tour with the other 24 women that are part of this, or is this really just an education piece for you guys to celebrate what you guys are doing in the space?
Yeah, I think an American Idol tour would be fantastic.
I think so too.
I think really it's a great tool, again, a great honor to really, again, educate the market, and it's not just educating the young generation, but educating everyone that, there are these fun, great positions. It's like when you're 5, you think, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, etc. Nobody says I'm going to be a mobile strategist for a top brand like L'Oreal, because you don't know about those positions. So the fact that they're out there and there are fun positions in the mobile, I mean, I would love to hear, my friends or my nieces say, I do want to be, a VC focused on mobile-based, companies. And it's exciting to think that there's great opportunities out there, and that, there's wonderful opportunities for women in the mobile industry.
Way back in the day, during the web days, I would never have considered, ever, that there would be 10 years later, there would be jobs focused on search engine optimization. Those jobs just didn't exist, right? When we were growing up, it was like, and I think I've got you on age many years. But I think that when I was growing up, it was like doctors, lawyers, real jobs. And if you didn't go to college, you didn't go to university, you didn't finish a degree, it was frowned upon. But now, I mean, there's actually somebody who is called, director of search engine optimization in a company. That's a sought-after position, because there are only a handful of people in the world can do this properly. So, you project a little bit forward when you think about the mobile space. It's more than possible that there are going to be people 10 years from now who are going to be, as you said, like chief mobile strategy officer, or even have risen through the ranks of a company to become the CEO as a result of their first incarnation in mobile, because they get that industry, which is pretty amazing. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's so many opportunities out there. I always say that my next company will be, focused on Facebook and erasing social media because, again, social media, because of the mobile phone, is so pervasive. So if you post a picture that you may not want an employer to see, well, with mobile phones, it could be global in a matter of a day. I mean, when you look at YouTube, it's like 6 million to 10 million hits on a video, etc., in matters of hours. It's just amazing how pervasive information can spread, and that's why, at MEF we do a lot about privacy security concerns. It's really, I've done a lot in the social media analytics. It's like, how do you find this information, and then how do companies use it to benefit themselves in terms of marketing, and then also how do you protect, it's like what we said, how do you protect the end consumer? So these are all really important issues that we're dealing with right now.
And this is what 2012 looks like, right? This is the mess. Michael Becker from the Mobile Marketing Association calls it primordial soup almost, where it's just like so much going on that all of a sudden you've got to fix this before you move forward. Is that right?
Yeah, and I mean, you really do. I mean, there are so many, as you said, unanswered questions, and you do need that proper foundation because, again, you see, with the wiretapping issues that came out, with journalists wiretapping phones, all these issues come out, and when they do, they come out on such a mass global scale where 10 years ago, that may have gone unnoticed. So you really start to see that, yeah, you really have to get your foundation right to do it properly in the mobile industry.
So if I was going to throw some terms that way, we talk about NFC, we've already talked about. Do you think that it's going to come up in 2012? Do you think over the next years? Is NFC going to be that tool that everybody thinks it's going to be? A couple of words on that?
I think it's a brilliant tool. Anytime that you talk about near-field communication, you're talking about, again, getting a consumer close enough to be able to interact with the consumer. So that's really what it's about, is interacting with that consumer. So is it going to be the thing that, makes or breaks the industry? I don't know, but I do think it's one of the interesting tools that the industry will have to better interact with consumers. So again, it's going to be a tool in a toolbox. I'm
There's
sure
a lot of
people
pressure on it.
disagree, but I really think that it's a great tool that we have.
Now, what about? I was going to say, there's a lot of pressure on NFC. It must be feeling it, right on its shoulders, right? Everybody looks at NFC as the next stage in mobile payments, mobile commerce, and who knows where it lands. But what about things like display ads, right? So we've gone through that. Display ads on your big screen, right under the big website, into the small screen. Do you think that we see changing of the guard in display ads? Do those stick around? I want them to disappear. I think they're terrible in mobile. That's just my opinion, right?
Well, a lot, obviously, with QR codes, hold your phone up, we'll do this, etc. You're asking consumers to be proactive.
Right.
And that's a challenge sometimes because, consumers may or may not want to interact. So with that kind of marketing, what I think will work more is that push marketing, things coming directly to your phone and you choosing yes or no. Yeah. So once it's on your phone, you're forced to interact with it. But when consumers have to take a proactive step, it seems like it hasn't been as, promising as people had thought it was going to be.
Exactly. It's a good way of putting it. So diplomatic. We're not diplomatic on this show, Marjorie. We tell it like it is. We're even allowed to swear.
Consumers don't like to be proactive. They like things to come to them very easily.
Well, so do I. I just want you to know what I want, and then I want you to go out and find somebody to pay for it for me on my behalf. If mobile could do that, it would be great. Yeah. Okay, so last question I got to ask you is, I got two questions, two simple questions. Is there a company out there in the mobile space that excites you, that really, like, when you look at them, you think, oh, they get it. It can be a big company, but this is a company that you think, oh, you know what, I got to watch these guys because mobile, they are kicking it in mobile.
Well, I have to say, Coca-Cola is one of our members at MEF, and I have to just say they've done a brilliant job because, for a huge global company that sells a physical product, they really were the first to embrace mobile commerce. And, their whole model is a Coca-Cola within the reach at all times. So if you start to see everything that they're doing with mobile and really pushing the envelope, I just think for a traditional brand, they have done the best job in embracing mobile.
Yeah, I love it. And as I get to sit down with Tom Daley, and I'm stunned, flabbergasted, enthralled by him. I only spent maybe 6 minutes with him, but I think I've become I don't drink Coke, unfortunately, but I've become a fan of the company and what they're planning on doing. Okay, what about the one app you can't live without? What is it that on your phone? Are you an iPhone user or an Android user? BlackBerry?
I'm actually a BlackBerry.
Yes.
I'm old school BlackBerry, and the reason is I love how I can email constantly, and email's like my main form of communication. If there's one app like I probably use the most on, but it's probably Facebook, because again, the social media aspect of it is, I found out that Michael Jackson had died on Facebook. I had found out Steve Jobs died on Facebook within minutes of when it happened. And that type of immediacy just makes apps like that invaluable.
Well, I love the fact that you're a BlackBerry user. I love it. Simply being Canadian, and RIM needs more people like you to stick with them.
RIM is fabulous. I think they do a great job.
Well, that's wonderful, Marjorie. I can't thank you enough for sparing a little bit of time. I've had the great opportunity to work with you on a couple of occasions at CTIA in San Diego, as well as MEF Americas in Miami. I love that fact. We got to pick someplace. Now you've set expectations. The next place that we actually do work together, it has to be somewhere exotic as well. Hawaii, Barcelona,
Kansas City.
What's that?
Kansas
City, that's right. Well, it doesn't have quite the ring, but I'll take it.
I use Sprint, so I have to promote Kansas City.
Nice. But I really appreciate you spending some time with us, and heartfelt congratulations on being one of the 25 women to watch in mobile. And we certainly hope that when the year ends, the impact that you've had has been recognized consistently throughout the year. I wonder, do you get to wear a sash around? Is that a crown or something?
Yeah, they get a tiara and a crown, and it's fabulous.
And you have to, you share with the other 24 women. I think, all kidding aside, I love the fact that these awards are recognizing the influence that people are having in this space. It just means that we're growing up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really such an honor, and it is. You're right. It is. The mobile industry has changed so much, and you start to see it as, 10 years ago it was the wild, wild west. Now it is where VCs are putting their money, where, corporations are putting their dollars. So you are seeing the growth of the mobile industry in an incredible way, and the professionals that I deal with in the industry are just some of the top-notch, most amazing people. So thank you, Rob, for all your contributions.
Well, I appreciate it. This has been great. I love it. Marjorie, thank you so much. Continued success in 2012. We'll be watching you. You can find out about Marjorie at mefamericas.com. You can go to mediamojos.com as well. Or if you go to mobilemarketer.com, the magazine, you'll find out a little bit more about all the other wonderful women that have been nominated, or actually have been part of this list of the top 25 women to watch in 2012. Marjorie, thank you so much for being a part of this. Really appreciate it. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you so much, Rob. Take care.
Bye-bye.